My last post on Twitter was about the subject of getting rid of labels. And for those of you who haven't read my book or the preface or the reason it's called Blue Jellyfish Syndrome, I'm going to explain to you why this subject is so important to me, or why I think it matters. I had a client who came into my office and we built a rapport, and she had not yet been diagnosed by her psychiatrist. But I could tell over the weeks that her symptoms were typical borderline personality disorder. Now, I wasn't her psychiatrist, so I certainly wasn't going to give her any information about that, wasn't going to tell her. And yet I worked with her accordingly. In other words, the work we did together, I based on that diagnosis. And she was fine, and we made progress. And then one day she came into my office absolutely freaked out. And she was almost in tears and mumbling and muttering and swearing and just in a state. And I shut the door and I said, hey, what's the matter? What's happened? And she said, I've just come from my psychiatrist and he's told me that I've got borderline personality disorder. That makes me sound like such a freak. Personality disorder? What the hell? I don't know. And she was just blown away by the fact that this label had been stuck on her. I really felt for her. And I said to her, listen, psychiatrists throw labels at us because once they label us, it then enables them to define our treatment and define what pills we take and all this sort of thing. And then I said to her, the label really means nothing. It's just a psychiatric term that psychiatrists needs to sort of understand and share with colleagues. So, can I ask you, do you feel any different than you did before you went to the psychiatrist today? And she said, no. I said, are your symptoms any different than before you went to the psychiatrist today? No, they're not. I'm the same. I said, see? You're the same. You're the same person. That label means nothing. It doesn't define you. So from now on, we are not going to refer to your diagnosis as borderline personality disorder. We're going to refer to it as blue jellyfish syndrome. And she laughed her head off. I said, can you handle being a blue jellyfish? Because it doesn't matter what the label is. You know, you don't need it. It doesn't define you. Can you handle being a blue jellyfish? And she said, yes. I said, I have complex PTSD, but actually I have pink flamingo syndrome. And for the rest of that morning, we talked and we shared and we did our work together. And she lost her fear and the stigma reduced. And then our time was up. But what gets me, you see, is a psychiatrist just needs to tell us what's not working right, what's wrong, and to tell us what treatment we're going to be given as a result and how he's going to handle our recovery. He doesn't need to tell us we have paranoid schizophrenia or borderline personality disorder, or psychosis. All the kinds of words that, when spoken aloud, make crowds want to run from you like some B-movie in the 50s when the monster comes. In order to stop stigma, let's stop these stigmatizing labels. Okay, let the psychiatrist write in his file borderline personality disorder and share it with whoever needs to know, requiring and involved in her treatment. But she doesn't need to be given that label. She doesn't need to carry that stigma with her. It should stay amongst the psychiatrists and their colleagues and those that need to know, so that we just go on living knowing we're being treated for what's wrong with us and defining ourselves in other ways than labels.